Everyone, we are going to discuss CAT 2024 slot 1, RC number 1 and RC number 2. So let's first go to the RC that we are going to do. This is the RC that we are going to do. It is on the screen. Now, first, before we read the RC, what we will do is we'll just check the questions once of the given RC. This is the first question, which is there on the screen. Anytime if you feel that you want to have a better look at the question, you can just pause and go through the particular question once again. But let's start. It says that we can infer from the passage that medieval crafts guilds resembled mass production in that both. So we're talking about two keywords, medieval crafts and mass production. So see, looking at the questions at the very beginning gives us an idea about what kind of questions are there, what is the topic, whether we should go for this particular RC or not. It is kind of something which becomes clear. Question number 2 says, which one of the following statement is not inconsistent with the views stated in the passage? So if you look at this question, it says not inconsistent, which means we are looking for something which is consistent with the views stated in the passage. We got to be a bit careful with this question. Now, if you look at the third question, it says the author questions the ability of crafts to create substantial employment opportunities presently because. So why does the author think that crafts will not be able to create substantial employment opportunities? We have to focus on that one. Question number 4, the last question is particular RC. The last question says that the most recent revival in interest in the crafts is a result of emergence of all the following except. So ये except वाला question है, आपको choose करना है जो इस particular paragraph में state नहीं किया गया है. You have to be careful with this question as well. So overall, this paragraph is talking about some crafts and their development. So let's now go to the passage and start reading this passage. Once again, at any point of time, if you want to have a better look at this particular reading comprehension text, you can definitely pause and go through it once again. Okay. It says the idea of craftsmanship is not simply nostalgic. Crafts require distinct skills and all-round approach to work that involves the whole product rather than individual parts, attitude that necessitates devotion to the job. Focus on the communal interests. So see, what is the paragraph talking about? It is talking about craftsmanship and what are the factors which contribute to craftsmanship. The concept of craft emphasizes the human touch and individual judgment. Essentially, the crafts concept seems to run against the preponderant ethos of management studies, which, as the academics note, have long prioritized efficiency and consistency. क्राफ्ट स्किल्स वर पोर्ट्रेड एज बीइंग इंपरेटिव एंड ट्रेडिशनलिस्ट्स. तो देखिए इसमें क्राफ्ट के बारे में बोला जाए, क्राफ्ट मतलब जो हैंड से बिल्ड होता है, जो इंडस्ट्री रिलेटेड नहीं है. इट इज मोर अबाउट a particular person doing this kind of handcraft or craftsmanship in his own skill. So skill is required here rather than machine related efficiency. Are we understanding this particular paragraph? Okay. Any point if you feel like going through this particular lines once again, आप pause करके और एक बार line check कीजिए. Let's go to the next para. The next para says the contrast between artisanship and efficiency first came to the fore in the 19th century when British manufacturers suddenly faced competition from across the Atlantic as developed in the American system using standardized parts. The worldwide success of the Singer sewing machine showed the potential of a mass-produced device. This process created its own reaction, first in the form of arts and crafts movement in the late 19th century, and then again in the small is beautiful movement in 1970s. A third crafts movement is emerging as people become aware of the environmental impact of conventional industry. देखिए ये आरसी का सेकंड पैराग्राफ है. What is the second paragraph saying? The second paragraph is saying how this particular crafts movement or the relationship with artisanship and efficiency come into the picture. Three things have been said here. First, we are talking about the American system. Second, we are talking about the small is beautiful movement. The third is being talked about in kind of consciousness towards environmental impact of conventional industry. So हम लोग के environment में क्या effect होता है industrial products का, इस basis करके third movement हो गया. This is the second paragraph of the given paragraph. So overall, it is talking about craftsmanship and what led to the revival of this craftsmanship. चलिए, let us go to the third. There are two potential markets for those who practice craft. Craft का market क्या है? There are two potential markets. The first stems from the existence of consumers who are willing to pay premium price for goods that are deemed to be of extra quality. So quality अच्छा है तो इसलिए they are willing to pay more money for this thing. Second market lies in those consumers who wish to use their purchases to support local workers or to reduce the environmental impact by taking goods to craftspeople to be mended or recycled. So ये second particular market है जो environment के कारण या local worker को support करने के लिए craftsmen को support करते हैं. Third paragraph also talks about why or what are the potential markets of craftsmanship. Moving on to the fourth paragraph, it says, for workers, the appeal of craftsmanship is that it allows them autonomy to make creative choices and thus makes the job far more satisfying. Now, from potential, we are moving on to what makes this particular craftsmanship appealing for the workers who are actually the craftsmen who work in this industry. So they are saying that it is a much more satisfying job according to this particular line. In that sense, it could offer hope for the overall labor market. Let the machines automate dull and repetitive tasks and let workers focus purely on their skills, judgment, and imagination. As a current example, the academic side, the Agile Manifesto in the software sector, an industry at the heart of technological change. The pioneers behind the original Agile Manifesto promised to prioritize individuals and interactions over processes and tools. By bringing together experts from different teams, Agile working is designed to improve creativity. Basically, this particular paragraph वो क्या कर रहा है? तो craftsmanship का जो positive quality है, उस पे वो focus कर रहा है. वो बोल रहा है कि machines अपना काम करे, the skill of the particular craftsman should be used to do much more creative work. इसके लिए example दिया जा रहा है, which is the Agile Manifesto and the technological sector. Moving on to the penultimate paragraph, it says, but the broader question is whether crafts can create a lot more jobs than they do today. So this is talking about the social impact of craftsmanship. क्या वो ज़्यादा से नौकरी create कर पाएगा? क्या वो से for example market को और better बना पाएगा in terms of job creation? Demand for crafted products may rise, but will it be easy to retrain workers in sectors that might get automated, such as truck drivers, to take advantage? In a world where products and services often have to pass through regulatory hoops, large companies will usually have the advantage. So basically बोला जा रहा है कि जो छोटा craftsmanship है उसका advantage नहीं होगा. The advantage will be with big companies because there are a lot of technical details to be discussed. Coming to the last paragraph, it says, history also suggests that the link between crafts and creativity is not automatic. Medieval crafts guilds were monopolies which resisted new entrants. They were also highly hierarchical, with young men required to spend long periods as apprentices and journeymen before they could set up on their own. By that time, the innovative spirit may have been knocked out of them. Craft workers can thrive in the modern era, but only if they don't get too organized. So basically, ये point बोल रहा है कि how does this particular medieval craft guilds and today's craftsmen, how similar they are, or what is the fact by which they can be kind of put on the same particular wavelength. तो ये है हम लोग का first paragraph regarding craftsmanship. I hope the paragraph is clear enough. Any point of time आपको अगर कोई part और एक बार पढ़ने का जरूरत पड़े, आप pause करके वो part को पढ़ लीजिए. Now let us go to question number 1. It says we can infer from the passage that the medieval craft guilds resembled mass production in that both. Now, if you want to take some time to solve this question, just pause the video and Okay, I'm going ahead with the answer. If you want to find the answer yourself and solve it, pause and then see. This particular option says did not necessarily promote creativity, discourage innovative by restricting entry through strict rules, did not always employ egalitarian production process, focus excessively on production quality. Now, if we go to the last paragraph, it says the one which starts with history also suggests. अगर हम इस paragraph में आ जाएंगे, तो it says history also suggests the link between crafts and creativity is not automatic. So basically crafts and creativity, they were not going together. उसके बाद वाला line हम पढ़ेंगे. Medieval craft guilds were monopolies which restricted new entrants. They were also highly hierarchical, with young men required to spend long periods as apprentices and journeymen before they could set up on their own. By that time, the innovative spirit may have been knocked out of them. This line is very important. This line is actually our answer, which says, by the time the innovative spirit may have been knocked out of them. Next line says, craft workers can thrive in the modern era, but only if they don't get too organized. So just like the medieval guilds, which did not discourage creativity, similarly, the crafts in today's time, mass production in today's time, uh, does not kind of increase creativity. So option number one, did not necessarily promote creativity, is the correct answer. Are we clear with question number one? If we move on to question number two, it says, which one of the following statements is not inconsistent with the views stated in the passage? Now, if you look at option number A, it says we need to support the crafts, only then we can retain the creativity intrinsic to their production. But if you go to this particular third paragraph, it does give you many reasons why people support creativity and crafts. So this is supported by the passage. Option number B says creativity in the crafts could be stifled if the market for artisan goods becomes too organized. Now, this particular paragraph says creativity in the craft should be stifled if the market for an artisan goods becomes too organized. So, this can be supported by the given paragraph from the last paragraph, which says craft workers can thrive in the modern era, but only if they don't get too organized. This is consistent with the given paragraph. Option number C, the arts and craft movement was initially inspired by American systems of production. American system is mentioned, but it is not inspired by that. So it is inconsistent with the given paragraph. The agile movement in software is a throwback to the tenets of medieval craft guilds. Agile movement is there in the third last paragraph, but इससे हम उसको derive नहीं कर पाएंगे. So it is inconsistent. Correct answer for this is option number B. Is everybody clear with this one? If we go to the third RC, it says, third question, it says, the author questions the ability of crafts to create substantial employment opportunities presently because. So it is talking about why the craft industry will not be able to create substantial employment opportunities. Now go through the options once, pause the video and go through the options yourself. Okay. If we look at this particular option, option number A says the low scale of craft production will not be able to absorb the mass of redundant labors. Regulatory requirement could make it difficult for small craft outfits to compete. Workers made redundant by automation are unlikely to offer craft related work. D says craft guilds tend to resist new entrants and are unlikely to accept large number of trainees. Now, if we look at this particular paragraph, which says, go to this particular last paragraph, second last paragraph, the penultimate paragraph, it says, but the broader question, Go to the penultimate paragraph. It says, but the broader question is whether crafts can create a lot more jobs than they do today. Demand for crafted products may rise, but will it be easy to retrain workers in sectors that might get automated to take advantage? In a world where products and services often have to pass through regulatory hoops, large companies will usually have the advantage. So this clearly says that large companies will have the advantage that crafts will not be able to kind of generate more of employment because regulatory requirements could make it difficult for small crafts outfits to compete. So option number B is the one which is the answer to this question. Why the author is kind of questions the ability of crafts to create more employment. If we go to 4, question number 4, it says the most recent revival in interest in the crafts is a result of the emergence of all the following. आप पॉज कीजिए वीडियो को and check for the answer. Now, if we go to this particular paragraph, the second paragraph, it talks about three particular movements. The paragraph which follows, it talks about two potential markets for those who practice crafts. In this paragraph, if we look at the lines, it says the first stems from the existence of consumers who are willing to pay premium price for goods that are deemed to be extra quality. The second market lies in those consumers who wish to use the purchase to support local workers or to reduce environment impact by taking goods to craftspeople to be mended or recycled. ये जो तीन particular reason है, it is found in option number B, C and D. Only option number A is the except wala answer. This is passage number 1. Once again, please go through the passage yourself and check whether this is clear or not. Moving on to the next passage, this is passage number 2. Once again, if we go to this particular passage, let's quickly go through the questions. Question says we can infer from the passage that the term Homo economicus refers to someone who. So we have a keyword Homo economicus. Question number 2 says time have changed for one's almighty discipline. This is our key particular word here. We can infer from the statement and associated paragraph the author is being. Question number 3 says the author critiques Schiller's approach to behavioral economics for. Our keyword is Schiller. In the first paragraph, the author is making a point that economists like Becker. So first particular paragraph say we can get one answer. Now, if we start reading the first paragraph and put question number 4 in perspective first, the first paragraph is there, answer will be from first paragraph itself. Let's start reading the paragraph. It says oftentimes when economists cross borders, they are less interested in learning from others than in invading their garden plots. Gary Baker, for instance, pioneered the idea of human capital. To do so, he famously tackled topics like crime and domesticity, applying methods honed in the study of markets to domain of non-market life. So basically, it is talking about Gary Baker, who has applied different particular pioneer of idea of capital, human capital. Uh, Most probably, he seems to be an economist. He projected economics outwards into new realms, for example, by revealing the extent to which humans calculate marginal utilities when choosing their spouses or stealing from neighbors. So basically, this is talking about Gary Baker and his studies. Just go through this particular first paragraph by pausing and then we'll address question number 1. Okay, so let's go to this particular question number 1. It says, I hope you have read this entire paragraph number 1. It says in the first paragraph, the author is making the point that economics like Baker. What does economics like Baker do? Let us come to the last part. It says at the same time, he did not let other way of thinking. If we come to this particular part, come to this particular part, it says at the same time, he did not let other way of thinking enter his own economic realms. For example, he did not borrow from anthropology or history or let observations for non-market economics inform this Homo economicus. Baker was a picture of imperial economists in the heydays of disciplines brovera. Now we have to understand this particular part, some of the words very, very carefully. It says Baker was a picture of the imperial economist. Now, why imperial economist? Imperial economist का मतलब क्या है? Somebody who imperial stands for somebody who is very dominating. Now, why is an imperial economist? Because if you go to the last line, previous line, it says he did not borrow. If you go to this line, it says he did not borrow from anthropology or history or let observations of non-market economics inform his Homo economicus. So he has borrowed from other subjects, but he has not his understanding of economics be influenced by the other subjects. So, and hence Baker was a picture of imperial economics in the heydays of the disciplines Bruvera. Now, यहाँ पे discipline का मतलब क्या है? What do you mean by the word discipline? It is talking about the subject economics. So it is talking about the dominance of economics. If you come to this particular question, since in the first paragraph, the author is making the point that economists like Baker, option number A says that benefited from the application of their principles and concepts to non-economic phenomena, had begun to concepts from other disciplines but averse to later applying economic principles. Number C says use economics to analyze non-market behavior by incorporating perspectives from other areas of inquiries. D says tended to guard their discipline from poaching by academics from other subjects. The paragraph says Baker had used other particular subjects to analyze. If you go to this line, he did not borrow from anthropology or history or let observations of non-market economics inform his Homo economicus. So he has not borrowed or not thought about what anthropologists or historians think. He has applied his economic particular perspective on the market. So option number C says that used economics to analyze non-market behavior without incorporating perspectives from other areas of inquiry. Option number C is the correct answer for question number 4. एक बार चेक कर लो question number 4. Now if we go to question number 2, it says time have changed for the once almighty discipline. Now देखिए second paragraph first line is this. It says times have changed for the once almighty discipline. Economics has taken to task within and beyond its ramparts. Some economics have reached out, imported, borrowed, and collaborated, been less imperial, more open. Consider Thomas Piketty and his outreach to historians. The booming of behavioral uh, economics, the fusion of economics and social psychology is another case. So what does this line say? That एक टाइम था जब इकोनॉमिक्स किसी सब्जेक्ट को कंसिडर नहीं करता था. आज का डेट में वो बात नहीं है. Economics and economists are taking advantage or taking kind of knowledge from other subjects as well. So, option number A says sarcastic about how economists who earlier shunned other disciplines are now beginning to incorporate them in their analysis. This is perhaps the best answer, but let's go to option B, C, and D. B says disparaging of economists' inability to precisely predict market behavior. So, this is not about predicting market behavior. So, option B will be eliminated. C says judgmental about the ability of economic tools to accurately manage crisis. Now, it is not about managing crisis. So this will also be not the correct answer. D says critical of economists openly borrowing and collaborating across disciplines to explain how humans take decisions. Now, this is not really critical about economists working in collaboration with other disciplines. Rather, option A is correct, which says sarcastic about कैसे इकोनॉमिस्ट पहले एक साथ नहीं करते थे, आज they are kind of begin kind of collaborating and say for example beginning to incorporate them in their analysis, दूसरा वाला पर्टिकुलर सब्जेक्ट को अपना पर्टिकुलर तरीके से वो इकोनॉमिक्स में डाल रहा है. So question number 2, option number A is the correct answer. If we go to question number 1, it talks about, we refer to a passage the term homo economicus refers to. Now देखिए, if you go to this particular line which says, we have this word here, homo economicus. एक बार ये लाइन को हम पढ़ लेते. Let us go through this line once. It says at the same time he did not let, he मतलब Baker, Gary Baker, did not let others' way of thinking enter his own economic realm. For example, he did not borrow from anthropology or history or let observations of non-market economics inform his homo economicus. So overall, if I summarize the line, it means दूसरा सब्जेक्ट को इन्होंने अपना सब्जेक्ट को, अपना आइडिया को इन्फ्लुएंस करने नहीं दिया. Let's go through the options of question number 1. Question number 1, if you look at question number 1, the correct answer for question number 1 is option number C. It says makes rational decision based on their own preferences. So question number 1, correct answer is C. Look at A, is which says is not influenced with the preference and choices of others. So here it is not about choice of others. Option number B, believes in borrowing and collaborating with this other disciplines in their work. So paragraph does not support this particular idea at all. Option number D, maximizes their opportunities based on non-market choices. Now, once again, maximizes their opportunities is not really kind of supported by this line. What is supported? It says that makes rational decisions based on their preferences. If we are left with only one question, that is question number 3, which says the author critiques Schiller's approach to behavioral economics for. For this answer, we will come to this particular part. It says, if we read the this particular part, it says, above all, we need politics and institutions. Schiller, the Nobel Prize winning economist, connects perceptions of narratives to changes in behavior and hence to social outcomes. He completes a circle that was key to behavioral economics and brings in storytelling to make sense of how perceptions get framed. This cycle was once mediated or dominated by institutions, the political parties, lobby groups, and media organizations that played a vital role in legitimating, representing, and excluding interest. Yet institutions have been stripped from Schiller's account to reveal a bare dynamics of emotions and economics without intermediating places of politics. देखिए ये क्वेश्चन में, if you look at this question, it is talking about critic Schiller's approach. किस बेसिस पे हम शिलर के अप्रोच को खराब बताएंगे या बोलेंगे इट इज नॉट कंप्लीट, इट इज नॉट इनफ, उसमें कुछ खराबी है. If we go to the last line, this will give me the answer to this particular question. It says, yet institutions have been stripped from Schiller's account to reveal a bare dynamics of emotions and economics without the intermediating place of politics. If you look at question number 3, directly, if you go to option number C, it says linking emotions and rational behaviors without considering the mediation of social institutions. This is the exact reframing of the last line of the given paragraph. Hence, C is the correct answer for this question. Once again, if you have any trouble in understanding any of the part, pause the video and go through this particular reading comprehension once again. Thank you so much.